so damn sure you wanna look kind 24/7 on my mind. All I ever wanted is to be with you. Making me feel is so brand new. I thought I
Jai Gurudev everybody, and a warm welcome to this 20 minutes crash course on Basics of Jyotish. You know, I have started to learn and explore astrology almost 20 years ago, and I was quite obsessed about learning it, researching on various subjects for days and nights. Until today, I sincerely feel that I have learned very little. And if I say that you will learn astrology after watching this video for 20 minutes, it won't be correct. So in this video, I am going to present the most basic concepts of astrology. What I have learned as my first lesson. Good enough for a kickstart. And there's a request. After watching this video, please look at your birth charts, your friends and family members' birth charts. Try interpreting them. But please do not predict or conclude. It will be too early for that. Alright? So let's begin. So what you see on the screen now is the North Indian way of casting a birth chart, commonly used by most astrologers. So what do you see there? Some boxes, some numbers, some letters. What do they mean? How looking at them one could know about a person? So before I talk about this chart, let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, long, long ago, far, far away, there was a king and a queen, and they have a small kingdom, obviously. And in his council, he had a merchant, a great entertainer, a mighty army commander, a wise spiritual guru, and a dedicated, hardworking sevak. So now allow me to introduce them to you. Yes, these are our beloved 9 planets. Sun, the king, Moon, the queen, Mercury, the merchant, the beautiful Venus is the entertainer, the red planet Mars is the mighty commander, the learned guru is the big planet Jupiter, and hardworking Saturn is the sevak. But these are only 7. Where are other 2? So here they come. Though they are not part of this royal family, but they are still considered as planets in Vedic Jyotish. Though all planets are part of divine and are revered and honored, however, basis their approach and ways to help us evolve, they are categorized into malefics and benefics. Sun, Mars, Rahu, Saturn, Ketu chose the harsher way, while Moon, Venus, Jupiter and Mercury are milder planets. They deal with us very softly, gently, more positive. But you see here, Mercury is extending his hand in the darker zone. Yes, there is a meaning behind it, and I'm going to talk about it sometime later. Now, when you look at this chart again, do these letters make more sense to you? Moon, Mars, Venus, Rahu, Sun, Jupiter. Can you make out? Great. So, now what are these numbers for? These numbers represent the 12 zodiac signs. The visible sky from planet Earth is divided into 12 sections, and they are the 12 zodiac signs. Yes, you're right. It starts from Aries as number 1 and to Pisces as number 12. There's a reason why I have put Leo and Cancer on the top. And we're going to talk about it now. So let's go back to our story. You remember the small kingdom of our king and queen I talked about? Yeah? So their small kingdom is actually this whole big sky with 12 sections or signs. And Sun, being a generous king, decides to allot these signs to his council members. But of course, he chose the most royal sign of Leo for himself and gave the next sign of Cancer with lots of water bodies and gardens to Queen Moon. The king needs resources to run his kingdom, so he decides to give next sign of Virgo to Mercury. And of course, Queen likes to shop a lot, so she gives Gemini to Mercury. Libra and Taurus were given to entertainer Venus. Scorpio and Aries to the commander Mars. Sagittarius and Pisces to the guru Jupiter. And Capricorn and Aquarius to Saturn. And they are called lords or rulers of these signs. Now, when each planet has one or two signs to rule, that doesn't mean they have to stay in their territory. Well, they have to work and move through the entire sky. But apart from their own signs, there are some places they feel really powerful, happy and strong. So these are called signs of exaltation. While in some other signs they feel very weak, timid, miserable. So these are their signs of debilitation. Now listen to this more carefully. Knowing which planet feels exalted where will also give you an idea of planet's nature, its likes and dislikes, comforts and discomforts. Though we are talking about space, planets and all, but it's no rocket science, just basic social psychology we need to understand. So the sun, the king, feels strongest with his army and commander by his side. So it is sign of Mars. But which sign of Mars? On his side or on Queen's side? Of course, Queen's side, isn't it? All men would understand why. Women may wonder. So sun is exalted in Aries and debilitated in Libra. You see, a king has business with everybody, but he feels bored in the sign of entertainer. Entertainer Venus coming to king's sign is a different thing. But yes, Queen Moon feels great in the sign of Venus and is exalted there. You see why men are from Mars and women are from Venus? Huh? Moon feels debilitated in the house of Mars, especially the king side, Scorpio, is the sign of debilitation for Moon. Mercury is happiest and exalted in his own sign of Virgo with his own community on king side and feels debilitated in the sign of Pisces, owned by Guru, Jupiter. While Venus, the entertainer, values the knowledge and feels exalted in the sign of Pisces. While the merchant Mercury doesn't pay well and Venus feels debilitated and timid in the sign of Virgo, owned by Mercury. The commander Mars gets terrible time with ladies in the sign of Cancer, owned by Moon, and is debilitated in sign of Cancer, but feels exalted in the sign of Capricorn, owned by Saturn. Jupiter, on the other side, is most respected and heard by Queen Moon and feels exalted there in sign of Cancer and is debilitated in the sign of Capricorn, owned by Saturn. Saturn feels great and exalted in sign of Libra, owned by Venus, the entertainer, and debilitated in sign of Mars. Serving warriors and commander is hell difficult. So now, when we look at this chart, we understand little more now, isn't it? Now we see Moon in number 2, which is sign of Taurus, owned by Venus, and Moon is exalted here. Mars in the sign of Cancer, number 4, ruled by Moon, and Mars is debilitated here. Getting it? Like this for each planet. Now we understand they are in which sign, who owns that sign, whether they are in own sign, exalted or debilitated. So now pause this video and do this exercise for all planets. Before moving ahead, you should know which planet is in which sign and what is their status, like own sign, exalted, or debilitated. Do it now. Done. All right, so let's move on to next mystery. We know the zodiac signs, we know the planets. Now, what are these boxes for? These boxes represent the directions divided into 12 houses. The first house, the eastern horizon, is called ascendant or lagna. In all the birth chart, you see this house marked in blue will always be lagna or ascendant or first house. And all these 12 houses represent some aspects of our life. Like first house indicates personality, confidence, appearance in general, an idea of self. How do you ideate yourself? Second house represents your wealth, family, your speech. Third house for siblings, courage, your spirit of enterprise, how much initiative you take. Fourth house talks about your mother, vehicle, property, houses. Fifth house about your children, education, your creativity, and how romantic you are. Sixth house is for enemies, diseases, and competition. Seventh house represent your spouse, partnerships, legal matters, and sex. Eighth house is of prana, longevity, accidents, and occult knowledge. Ninth house is the house of guru, the guide. It's house of good fortune, religious activities, and your father. 10th house is house of karma, action. This house also talks about your profession, your father as authority figure. 11th house is house of gains, earnings, friends. It's a good house. 12th house is house of expenses you incur. Also your subconscious mind. So dreams, meditation, all seen from 12th house. This is also house of moksha. So, come what may, these 12 houses stay where they are. They never change. Irrespective of what sign you have in Lagna, the houses stay as they are. Take example of this chart. Like in this chart, Lagna is owned by the first house has Cancer sign in it. Number 4 means Cancer sign in it. But this house always stays as Lagna. And the house following is always second house. So the second house has Leo sign in it. The third house has Virgo sign in it. But this house always stays as third house, irrespective of what number or what sign it holds. Fourth house has Libra in it. In this chart, in this case. In case the Lagna changes, as we had in the previous chart we were referring, the signs may change, but the houses stay as they are. Like the 7th house has Capricorn sign in it. 10th house has Aries sign in it. 11th house has Taurus in it. But the 11th house is always this house. 12th house is always this house. Getting it? Great. So, according to significance of each house, there are various categories of houses, indicating their strength and auspiciousness. These 4 full boxes are called quadrants or Kendra houses or Kendra Bhava. Houses are also called Bhava. First, 4th, 7th and 10th. These houses are very strong houses. Any planets or sign falling in these houses are considered very strong. Next are trikonas or trines. First, 5th and 9th. These are very auspicious houses. Any planet or sign falling in these houses gains auspiciousness. Yes, first house is both a Kendra and a Trikona. There are overlapping of categories. 6th, 8th, and 12th houses are called Dusthanas or bad houses. Any planets or sign getting in these houses are considered inauspicious. Next category is called Upachayas or the houses of growth. Any planet or sign going in these houses grows and gains strength with time. They are 3rd, 6th, 10th, and 11th houses. There are a few more categories, but we'll keep it for next video. Let's get back to our reference chart now. Now we understand everything that is written here. Like moon is exalted in Lagna, so this person should have great personality, beautiful and soft appearance, great confidence. Wow, Mercury is exalted in 5th house of education and children and creativity. So this person is highly educated and should have great happiness from children. Now we are getting it. But only what is written. There is much more to it, much more to know about each planet, much more to know about each house. In fact, there can be books written on each house or each planet. I'll try to cover as much as I can in my coming videos, but for now, one more important thing we should know about these planets, that wherever these planets sit, they aspect or influence the 7th house they are from. For example, moon is in Lagna or 1st house, and it is influencing the Saturn in the 7th house in the sign of Scorpio. So does Saturn is influencing to moon. Sun and Jupiter aspects the 10th house, the sign of Aquarius. Similarly, Mercury aspects the sign of Pisces. So every planet is aspecting the 7th house from wherever they are placed. Do you get it? Count 7 from the house the planet is placed in and include that house. Like if Mars is in number 4 sign, Cancer, we count from number 4, not from number 5. So Mars's aspect reaches the sign of Capricorn. Getting it? Or pause the video, stay here, and understand how is it working. Now, apart from 7th aspect, there are 4 planets who have some special aspects. There are Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and Rahu. Mars aspects 4th, 7th, and 8th sign from wherever it is placed. Wait, pause here and count it by yourself. Jupiter aspects 5th, 7th, and 9th sign from wherever it is placed. Again, pause and count. Take your time. Saturn aspects 3rd, 7th, and 10th sign from wherever it is placed. Count 3, 7, and 10 from Saturn. And Rahu aspects 2nd, 5th, 7th, and 9th sign from the sign it is placed in. Pause and count. Alright, so you got it all. But we need more practice before the next lesson. So take down the homework. Yes. Number 1. Analyze this chart on all the concepts we discussed, like moon is placed in 1st house in sign of Taurus and is exalted, and the lord of 1st house, that is the lord of Taurus, is in 3rd house, Venus, in the sign of Cancer. Moon is aspecting 7th house, Saturn in Scorpio, about the 2nd house also, though there is no other planet in it. The 2nd house has Gemini sign and its lord Mercury is placed in 5th house in Virgo. Getting it? Similarly, do it for all 12 houses and 9 planets. That's number 1. Number 2, in the same way, analyze 8 more charts of your friends and family members. That will make the count 9, including this chart. And then the 10th chart should be your own chart. The 10th chart, not before that. Got it? So if you have any questions regarding this topic, please post them on my blog, which is shrisrijyotish.blogspot.com. I request you please not to send me questions on Facebook or WhatsApp. If you are posting it on my blog, then many others can benefit from it. And I also don't have to answer same question multiple times, right? So thank you so much for taking time listening to me, and stay connected. There's a lot more interesting stuff coming up. All the very best. Happy learning, and Jai Gurudev.
Take my